Good, good,
Don't
good.
worry, it's all good. It's going to go fine. Yeah, no, really, really well. Just another lockdown is just, it's hard work, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know?
I feel like this time everyone's been like, people were upset last time how we're going to cope and all that type of stuff. Where this time I think it's been completely different. Do you? How do your team
Massively,
feel?
massively different. I mean, even from the day that you kind of knew you were going into lockdown, your clients were dropping like flies. No one was coming near the salon. Everyone was
Really?
petrified. Oh, I mean, I think it was probably probably the last 4 or 5 days before we closed. We just noticed that, I mean, we had a lot of clients that were coming in saying that they were unwell. You know, I've got this continual cough, I've had it for weeks. But this is the thing though, but this is before we knew anything about it, you know, that they were still coming in, but this is probably like from last September, I would say.
Yeah.
But they were very aware of the fact that they were unwell. So as soon as it was brought to light in March, clients were just dropping like flies. And it's just very different because this time round, we knew the figures were getting higher. We knew it was getting much worse, but yet they didn't care how many people were in your salon. They didn't care what time of day they came. They were there and they had their bags packed and they didn't care what time of day they were coming. They were coming in to get their hair done. And it was only for 4 weeks. So it's quite incredible that they've changed really, but in such a short period of time. I think it's just changed everyone's mindset. And I don't know about you guys, but going outside now, it's just like there's no coronavirus. People are out there giggling.
We were talking last week when we were discussing the webinar, and we were both saying we were both working from home, and I live on a busy road and you saying yours is quite busy as well, and the cars that passed, it was just like a normal day. I think it's, and I get this time we've got manufacturing and we've got construction and we've got a few other things that are open, so it is different, and I'm super grateful that everything else is carrying on because we need the economy to be carrying on. It's just us. It's just us. It's been really tough time.
Yeah, it has. I think, well, I mean, let's just hope it's just 4 weeks, because I think, you know, 4 weeks, it's quite easy to do a quick turnaround, get back to the salon, I think, isn't it? But to have
but
the period that we had before was very different.
When we were chatting, I think this is the interesting part. Compared to where we were this time last year, we can't even compare it. This is a new norm and it's different. But I think clients now, I personally feel, you know, we're wearing masks, we're not seeing people as often. And I think self-care is becoming even more important. And people are wanting to express themselves through hair a little bit more. And I'm quite pleased, you know, we're moving away from sort of just, I'm not saying the balayage isn't great, not sort of saying that there's a place for a balayage, but it was feeling a little bit like, come on, let's have a little bit of life in our hair again.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think in some respects, the first lockdown really helped because, you know, your standard 6 week tint regrowth it does get really tedious. So I think in that respect, it's been great because, you know, you kind of gained more from your client in that respect because their tint was kind of grown out a little bit. It's probably something that you don't really want to keep doing within the salon because no one really wants to be known as a tint regrowth salon. So it kind of opened up a little bit more for us. So in that respect, we've had quite a few clients that we've actually changed over from a full scalp application to a full head of highlights that are now coming in still the 6 weeks, but they've now got variety and different tones and hues in their hair. So that they want to keep that up now. So instead of it going from a smaller appointment, it's gone to a larger, and it's giving you much more of a kind of revenue coming through leading into 2021. So it kind of keeps them coming back. And then they change their colour more frequently. They're kind of doing more seasonal changes with their tones that they're using with the higher low lights. So it's a really nice way of doing that. So it's kind of gained a lot of different clients, I think.
I'm very welcoming of that because it's, I know when I was in the salon of just doing the same colour, I'm bored, they're bored. You know, it's nice to have something different. And we've got such amazing palettes now, and you know the techniques, and we can do. I wanted to talk about express techniques or just about how you've adapted your techniques in the salon. So what do you think's changed for you?
I mean, to be honest, I think going back into salon, we kind of adapted. It's not necessarily a case of what technique have you used and what adaptations are you making. It's very much a personal transition for each client that we have through the door. So it could be anything from someone comes in, they're booked for their normal balayage, but actually they want a full head of highlights. Well, actually, it's going to take us much longer to do that full head of highlights than it is to do our express balayage technique. So in that sense, we'd kind of work more on focal areas that they could see. So we'd work kind of more face framing with the highlights, kind of doing more of the kind of teardrop shapes around your crown, around your lower part of your head, just so that you can create more of a lightness feeling around the face. But it kept them going, but also made them come back quite quickly, which is really good. Again, like I was saying with the tints as well, your global applications, going in with your pre-lightener, and we even use quite a lot actually. We use a high lift. So high lift, did I just say that? I'm so sorry.
Energy series.
Oh, energy series. Oh my god. L'Oreal days, sorry.
Energy series is our high lifts. So it's the same.
I just don't like using that. I never like using that. I don't know why I said that. Sorry. So using the two combination with the slightly darker, maybe of their actual global application they were having previously before, kind of easing them into going into the highlights. Again, it brought them back quicker because they wanted to reduce more banding. They weren't waiting that sort of like 6 to 8 weeks. They wanted to come back, get it done more frequently. I think balayage, it's never going to die. It's always going to be there. But unfortunately, I wish something else would come though. Something else needs to evolve and just get away from it a little bit. It's been years now, hasn't it?
Yeah. I think people are the lived in. I love lived in colour. I look at people and I'm like, it's beautiful. It looks really nice, and it suits their skin tone. And there's so many sort of like plus points for lived in colour. But I also think there's other things that you can add in. So occasionally you do need to have some foils in there as well, or mesh, and you do need to sort of like add a face frame in. So it's just thinking about those other things. How do you go about enticing your clients to go for that shift?
I mean, to be honest, I do quite a bit of, like at the moment, we're kind of working on social media. So we're kind of on Instagram, on Facebook, and it actually does create a lot of interest from our clients. So a few weeks, was it last week, I think, I did more of a mood board on your kind of autumnal sort of brunette shades, kind of more of your mahoganies, your reds, your mauves, kind of create that board. And I think once we did that mood board and we kind of made it quite popping to the eye, we had a lot of clients that contacted us that then wanted to discuss, which probably with a 4-week break, you're able to do it. So you can actually have that email conversation with them. You can chat to them. And we're quite lucky. We've got our database that I can work from home. So I can see the notes that clients have had, because a lot of the clients obviously aren't mine either. But I can have that discussion with them just to kind of guide them. And it kind of encourages you to create a colour journey. So the client isn't coming back when you open up in 4 weeks, having the same old service that they would normally have. Sometimes you're a bit under the cosh. You don't really have that time to develop what they're having, which is really difficult. And that when they've left, that you want to give them more, but if they haven't got that time, it's so hard to do so. And especially with the times that we have at the moment, I think doing that on social media at the moment is really giving us much more focus on what we can do, how much appointment time they need. It's working really well. And I've done a blonde one today as well. And the blonde one, I think it's been up for like 10 minutes this morning. And I think we've had how many emails? I haven't even looked this morning, but it's been pinging because I want this blonde. And you can work out their colour journey, let them know how long that's going to take roughly, where they're sitting now, talk them through it a little bit more, make them understand their hair a little bit more. And it makes them also want to buy hair care when they get back, which is amazing. So your retail goes through the roof, your colour services, you're adding more and more all the time. And I think, to be honest, we need to use it as a real positive, having this time off and pushing them that bit further, making them think about them a bit like you were saying earlier. They're wearing their hair. That's all we see. And to be honest, I think women now are thinking more eyebrows and hair. I think that's all it is at the moment.
Yes, very true. Eyebrows and hair, with everything else is it's sort of stuff, isn't it? So I did actually think today, I was I'm down in Havant today, and I was like, have I got any lipstick? I was like searching around in the car because I don't think about wearing lipstick anymore. So I have got some, but it's quite interesting you're saying about the hair journey. On Monday, we've got Emma's webinar coming up, and it is about creating a hair journey. So we've actually put together a little hair journey card that we're going to be sort of sharing, and Emma's going to take through a few different things. So it ties in really nicely. And like you say, we've not got a magic wand. You can't go from A to Z in sort of 2 visits. It's going to take time. And they're brilliant clients, aren't they? They're the clients that you're saying you're going to be coming back every 6 weeks. This is what it's going to cost. There's no surprises. If you want to have this color, you are going to have to take home these products, and you're going to have these treatments, because you can't do that. You can't get to those points. I think now we're more and more aware of clients are more aware of what hair is about. Plexes, everybody knows what a plex is. You know, nobody knew what a bond was years ago. You know, it was just hair. Whereas now we're aware of that we need to build those bridges. So, you know, getting people coming back in and having Bond Hero treatments, and just saying you need to have this in your product. It's not, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to have a toner today. This is what you're going to have. I think things have changed. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, massively so. And I think plexes are really in there with the media. And I think there's, like you say, there's not anybody that doesn't know what a plex is and what a plex does. So I think having that in salon is, you know, it's fantastic to have it there to use. And I think sometimes, going forward, I think now, I was thinking this probably, I don't know what day it is. It's not yesterday, the day before. I was sitting down, I was kind of working through what we needed to order product wise for our return. I thought, you know what? Do we make Bond Hero a necessity as opposed to an option? So when we are using our pre-lighteners, because of everything the hair's been through this year, because everyone was locked down completely through that summer, there's not a person out there that wouldn't have been laying in that sun, frying their hair the whole time. Yeah, apart from you, but I mean, I was doing it myself. I was outside, I was basking in the sun, and you know, yes, I was using the right hair care products, but actually going back into the salon to have something like that is fantastic. So I think having that bashing from your free radicals at that point, and then coming back into lockdown now, you don't know. I mean, hopefully there's not many home colour kits that have gone on in this 4-week period.
I don't feel like I've seen it this time. Last time it was rife, and you know, people sending home little colour kits. It's not the colour that I'm afraid of, it's the application that I'm afraid of.
No, I think for us, we were, I don't know whether, everyone's different, done it so differently, but for us, we had clients that were wanting us to take little bags of colour to their door, or for them to come and collect it. But for me, I just felt like, you know, we're not insured against that. If they go home and anything goes wrong, they could do anything. You don't know what they're doing. They could mix it wrong. They could leave it on for too long, swear that they didn't, take it off too early. You just don't know, do you?
This is why we're professionals.
So, and this is exactly it, you know. And I think, but also, which is a bit crafty, probably a bit naughty as well, but I quite liked the fact, this may be a bit weird, that they went and shop bought products, because actually we gained a lot of new clients by them doing that. So I don't know why, but people just thought, oh, it's something to do, I'm bored, I'm going to colour my hair. Actually, to be fair, we probably had a lot more haircuts, home haircuts coming to the salon than we did home colours. It was quite surprising. Surprised me a lot, actually. But I quite like the fact that the shop bought ones, the hair felt crap. Sorry, bad. But it was. You know, the hair felt terrible. The product didn't lift to the colour that was on the box, Kel Surprise. You know, they don't understand their own natural hair. So it gave you time to really discuss what their natural undercoat does, what their hair naturally is underneath, because they can't see it. They don't know what you're talking about. But half the time when you do discuss things like that, it must go over their heads a little bit. And I think when they start using home colours like that, they're like, light bulb moment. That's why I don't do this. And I think, you know, it then made us not just have one visit from that client, you then gain a lot more, and then you've got more longevity. And I think by them doing that, it's really going to help our revenue through 2021. I really do, because again, it's the colour journeys that we can then give them to push them through.
I totally agree with you. I don't foresee we're going to have so many home hair problems. I think, you know, there's last time everybody was not working, apart from the unfortunate few. But now we've got a lot of people still working through this, and I don't feel we've got that kind of boredom like we've done before. It basically feels hairdressers and beauty therapists are in lockdown. That's how it feels at the minute. And people, restaurants, that's all we've got. So I think it's going to be different, this lockdown, the hair that we've got coming back. But how are you going to cope with November and December?
Well, I've done it actually. That's if we go back. It's very difficult, isn't it? I think the first lockdown, I was unsure as to how to return. It was so new to everybody. No one had a clue what to do, really. We were talking to other salon owners in the area, and again, we couldn't shed any light on each other. We were trying to pull together as much as possible, but you just got to do what you've got to do. But actually, at that point, on the return then, we didn't open our bookings until the week before we opened. And my phone line went bonkers, and it created an awful feeling. It wasn't very pleasant. I had clients that were being rude because they couldn't get the appointments that they wanted. Everyone seemed to think they're a VIP, which, you know, everybody is. They all are. We need them all, but everybody just kind of seemed to think that they were priority. They needed this, they needed that, and they wanted specific days and specific times. And you think, wow, you've got like 4 months worth of hair to fit in July. And it just, you know, it was hard. We all had to work really long hours, which I'm sure most salons did, most hairdressers did. Really long hours, really long days, 7 days a week. And then finally sort of like caught up with that sort of like the beginning of September, I suppose. And then it kind of went to our normal pace. And then it kind of started exploding again, because I think people were worried it was going to happen again sort of like through October, like the half term. So then it kind of exploded again that side. I'm a bit detracted. What was the question?
It was all good. It was really good. But I was going to say, how have you booked them in? How have you done it?
So, yeah, I mean, so November, I've managed to get everybody booked in. So the first sort of 3 or 4 weeks of December, we're doing a few extra days, a few extra hours. I'm not going to do to the team what we did last time. As I say, November's quite a short month. David and so my husband and I, we work longer hours and we work longer days, but I don't want to do it as a team again. It wasn't fair. It's a real struggle. They'll do their normal hours. And then we'll just have to ease everyone into sort of January, you know, and I think it's only 4 weeks. And if your appointment was the mid of November, is it really bad that you've got to wait to the end of December, beginning of January? It's not that far off. And let's be fair, no one's seeing anybody. And I think so many people have actually said, you know, clients have contacted, don't worry about me, I'll come in January. And you're thinking, oh, thank God. Then at least you know January is going to start to feel. Yeah. And I'm encouraging them to book their January if they are booking for December, and to encourage the beginning of February as well, just so that if we do end up with another lockdown, it's great this. If we end up with another lockdown, do you want to get your next one in? And it does, it really helps.
Interesting that is, you know, of just sort of like booking up your appointments, your frequency. Do you think that's changed how people think? You know, I mean, I go, my eyebrows, I'm done through to January now. Yeah. My eyebrows and hair is the thing, but I think it's, my mind is sort of like, I'd like to get them booked in, because if we do get another one, I know I'm going to be moved somewhere.
Yeah, I have mine was supposed to get done this month, and I'm not priority. No, I do. I mean, to be honest, a lot of our clients always rebook anyway when they leave. But I think what's great is these colour journeys. They are pre-booking every 6 weeks. And for that, you are seeing your progression, you're seeing your revenue over the next few months. It's not just next month. And I think we've managed to fit ours in quite well, as I say, doing extra hours and what have you. But encouraging them to book further ahead does really help. I think it's, you know, you don't freak out. You're not looking at it thinking, oh my God, what's happening? Because you don't know. Other people, you know, that aren't in the hair industry, they are losing their jobs. Their husbands are losing their jobs. They had reduced hours, but you know, they are going to keep spending money on their hair. And if they can't, they will still come sort of like every 8 weeks rather than every 6. So I think it's good to make them feel good, I think.
So we've had a couple of questions. Rachel's saying she's always booking a year ahead. She's very organised, trying to get everybody organised in. That's good. But also Sam has asked that, are your team, she says, surely the staff are happy to fill the days to keep the business thriving? I mean, was there a detrimental effect to your team then?
You froze then.
Sorry. Sam was saying is that the staff are happy to fill those spaces to keep the business thriving. Do you feel there was a detrimental effect on getting the team to work such long hours the last time?
It's not. Yes, they worked longer hours, and more days, and they are more than happy to do it. More than happy. I just feel I need my team to be happy. I don't want my team run down and tired, and I want them to be able to focus on what they can offer clients. I don't want them to come in and potentially lose clients in some respects. So I think if you're offering the same service, not offering anything that's new, because one, you're tired, you're under the cosh, you're not good, your client's not going to feel good. They're going to feel rushed, and I don't want them to feel like that. We've always had extended appointment times anyway. We allow our clients to kind of feel like they are the only thing that we're focusing on, and we want to give them everything that they do want. And I don't want our staff to not want to do that. And I think with it being a 4-week period closure, I don't feel the need to.
It's not it's different this time.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And, you know, and the revenue that we created, that you build sort of like the beginning as you came back, I mean, Christ, it was like December for 3 months. It was amazing. So during our December period, yes, it's very busy, but our revenue is not going to be hit, I hope. So for me, I'm much rather have a happier team, really, to be honest.
Cool. So how did you cope with that? I mean, obviously we're social distancing when we're in the salon, and we've got our PPE and we've got all that kind of stuff that's in place, which is now just standard. It's amazing how you get used to stuff so quickly, isn't it? You know, having a temperature taken and washing your hands, sanitizing your hands, it's all become very normal now. The first time I was all a bit like, oh, I feel a bit weird, whereas now it's normal. How do you fit in all of these colors in your salon? Obviously you haven't doubled your salon space.
No. So I mean, when we first opened, we've only got a small team. There's only a team of 6 of us. There's 4 full-time and then there's 2 part-time. So it works really well, actually. We've got more sections than we would need for the staff. We took away our reception area because it was so warm outside still. It was really dry. We were very lucky coming back. Took away that. So on one side of the salon, because all the sections are side by side rather than back to back or face to face. So we maintained over 2 meters distancing between all of our sections on that side. And then the other side, we had screens. So we did that very, very well, actually. We had longer appointments for clients. So actually it allowed us to have that very minimal overlap time between clients. And we were very lucky with the space that we had. I mean, I don't know how bigger salons coped. I mean, I'd be quite interested to hear how they did, really, because I found we were okay because we were smaller, but I don't know how people with big teams would have really coped. I think that must have been quite stressful for them, and I don't think they'd have been able to have all their team in. But then once the weather turned, it was getting colder, we then brought reception back in, and then we actually, a couple of weeks before lockdown, spent a lot of money on having new screens put in and having the sections put back together so we can actually have more people in the salon. But we've got really good ventilation in the salon as well. And actually, to be honest, I think clients, as long as they're seeing their screens in between the sections and that they're seeing you do temperature checks, you're doing your hands, you know, you're constantly, before you touch somebody else or do something else, you're always, and you know, we're going to have so much time on our hands once we finish with all this, if we ever finish with it all, that I think they see you do it all. They see you wipe down. You know, one client gets off a chair, we wipe it down. they go to the backwash, they get off the backwash, we then wipe it down. I mean, it's like military operation, but they're seeing you do that. So then they know that when they come back, they then go and tell friends. You know, we've got new clients that have come in purely because of the fact that we are doing all the things that we should be doing. And some they've been going to haven't been doing that. So they've actually lost clients and we've gained them just because we're being more sanitary with our products.
It just makes you feel a bit more comfortable, doesn't it? And you kind of feel at ease. Like, you know, I going in to get my eyebrows done, I go through all those checks and things are different and change, and I feel very comfortable doing it. Even sort of like before we were in this current lockdown, I had to stay away from home a couple of times, going out to see salons. And in hotels, I have to say, they were quite amazing as well. So you do get used to it. Now, I've got a question for you. So the last lockdown, you gave an amazing tip to everybody on a yellow live that we did about 000 000. I think it's really worth recapping that again about what it does, because I obviously talk about this all the time, and a few people thought it was like to what's it called, where a clear, where it would not neutralize, what am I trying to explain, where it would soften the color. Right. So if you would sort of add a clear into something, which it isn't, it's a booster. But you had a really great way. I know quite a few people had success. So if you wouldn't mind explaining.
Yeah. I mean, there's going back into the salon, there's actually other ways that you can use it. And I think you can adapt it depending on hair porosity as well. But say, for example, you use a natural 6, let's say, and your client has coloured their hair at home. So they've now got this regrowth band, they wanted to colour it, but then they've gone in, they come back to you and it looks more like a 5. But they've also got their regrowth now, they've got a band of 5, and they've also got like a warm 6 where it's just lifted in the sun. So if you'd better get that base 6 natural colour working from root to end, you're going to need to kind of slightly shift that level 5 out. So if you go in with your 000, I was using quite a lot. I was using 10 vol with it because it was more porous. I was kind of analysing the hair a little bit, kind of seeing where it was at. And you could just see it was a bit more porous because of the amount of sun that we'd had. So I went in with my 10 vol and I'd literally just applied it onto those bands, and it just shifts it out enough so you could just rinse out that colour. It brings you to the undercoat that you'd need, shift it out, rinse it out, and then apply your colour on top, and you just get perfect root to end colour. But you're not going to get, say someone's put a level 4 on their root, you're not going to get that shift.
Yeah, it's not a colour remover.
Okay. It's not a remover. It just gives you that little bit of shift. I mean, I kind of, depending on, again, because it's box colour, it's shop bought, depending on what they've used, how many times they've used it, depends on how long you need to leave it on for, really. So it's, you've got to watch it. You can't just put it on, leave it and walk away. I think if someone's just done the colour once, kind of, I would leave it up to 20 minutes maximum, just to try and get that shift out. That, like I say, it's not going to remove it away at all. It's just going to give you the undercoat that you need to kind of help you work with that. But if you've got someone that kind of has coloured their hair a little bit, it works really well, actually. I've got one particular client that has the Energy series. We use the 1111 and 0SS with 40 as a globe application. And she decided to go in and use something that was a little bit heavier. I don't know what she used, a Clairol. I don't know them very well, obviously, don't use them. So she got in and used that. And actually, I just literally used that very small amount. I left it on 10 minutes at her root, just to give it a bit more shift, to kind of get rid of that dense yellow, because it was very heavy yellow. And it allowed me to go back in and get the clear result with the 1111, which was really nice.
So you would use the OSS with, so the difference between 000 and OSS, your 000 is your 1 level booster in the normal range, and then in the Energy series, which is the highest, you've got a special one which is OSS. Basically, the Energy series has a higher amount of ammonia in there, so that is like its partner. It works together.
So that was, that was for the global application. That wasn't for the saturation at the mid-band where she'd coloured herself. So the 0SS, you'd never use for taking out or shifting out any colour at all. It would literally just be for mixing with your Energy series. Just to clarify that, because that would be a bit of a disaster to put that on the scalp.
No. I remember
it's just watch it. You just need to
series
on its own, nothing else.
Yeah.
Would you mix that name? So what was the mix on that mix?
So let's have a look. Rachel was saying, would you mix that the same? So OSS with your energy series, you mix equal amounts with your 40 volt. That's for energy series only. For your OOO, you would mix equal 1 to 1.5 with 10 volt.
0, yeah.
I think that's where it was. She'll come back to
it. But it's a really nice thing to use anyway. I think sometimes your clients can want a little bit of change and maybe want their hair to look slightly lighter. So it's a nice thing that you can use all the time. It's not just something that you can use for removing those bands.
Okay, so, I knew we'd get questions. So is for colour shift and rinse off and go straight over the desired colour. Yes, that's one use for it. The actual use is to give you an extra shade of lift. So instead of getting 3 shades of lift, you can actually achieve 4 shades of lift by using the OOO. But the OOO on banding is really good. Did that answer that right?
It's a game changer.
If you're using O's on its own without shade, right, okay. So OOO is, if you're using 900, that is a natural tone. So that is equal amounts of red, yellow, and blue pigment. So that's going to give you, that'd be your base tone. The OOO would be. The triple O. There's too many O's in this. The triple O is a booster that's going to give you 1 extra shade. Okay, so don't think the OO on like the end of a 900 is not going to do the same thing. Did that make sense? Do you want to reword it?
Yeah, so it's the reinforcer will only add an extra level of lightening. It will not, it won't. Oh, how do you reword that?
If you're doing O's.
It's really confusing.
I think the O's on their own without a shade is just to remove that mid band, to just give you that colour shift. So you've got the undercut that will come out of it. I think that's what she means. Then you can go over the top with your chosen target.
Yes, right, and it won't disturb it at all. But what you might find is you might need to neutralise a little bit more, because it'll obviously give you a different undercoat that shines through.
Yes, so we did a really good class. I'm like, I think it was Monday. We did a really good class with Vicky Lewis and on undercoats. So if you didn't attend that one, have a look at that, because that was really good at understanding undercoats and how to do them. So do you mean OSS in the energy series? Oh my goodness, we've got a few. You can use the OSS on its own. No show, but the high lift is right. Yes, that's good. All right. Thank you, Rachel. She answered that question for us.
Oh, well done. Well, I don't stay on the screen long enough. I'm trying to see it and I just can't see it.
It's all right. Don't you worry. Skin testing we touched on last time. We had a real mixed bag of skin testing. The Yellow's manufacturer's instructions are to skin test for every client, because of the reason that even we saw those horrible things where people had COVID, and
I saw
that was awful, and it really made you think about, okay, your body changes consistently. Hormonal changes. I saw something on the group the other day where someone had said that their client had not a reaction but just skin sensitivities, and I'm like, well, yeah, it can make such a big difference.
Yeah.
Where hormones, where you are in the world, whether you're stressed, there's just so much, never mind medication, that will make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tricky one, isn't it? Because we don't do it every single service. However, saying that, I've been looking quite a lot over the last few weeks at different forums, and I don't know whether you're on hair, is it Hair Uncut or anything
all
like
of them.
that? Excuse me, it's cough, not COVID. So I've noticed quite a lot on there that people have, like you said, have been unknown to having COVID, that have had slight irritations, that have been long-term irritations, that they go back again and then they're still having reactions. So it's not just that one visit. So, I mean, really now, looking back, looking forward, going into salon, I think it might be something that we might have to consider doing after every visit. But the thing is, they'll have to,
when you
you can't do the skin test on that day. That's the only problem. So you need to
do you know what? It's so hard, so hard. But even when you're going for a meal, people are like, have you got any allergies? You know, this is becoming more and more aware. And I think with the world that we're living in now, where things are different. And maybe we need to sort of like start thinking about what that does look like. This could be a really interesting topic. I'd be quite interested to get a few people as panelists on this, maybe get forums on here and debate about skin testing. I think that could be a really good one, and just sort of like see about some ideas.
The salon, I mean, it's a really good thing to be known as overcautious and you're looking after your clients. And I think that, are they going to really be upset by the fact that you want to keep skin testing them at a time like this, especially if you educate them on the fact that other people have had reactions and a lot of people haven't got symptoms for COVID, and who knows whether you have had it or haven't had it, and we don't know what it does to the body. So, I mean, the more we're talking about it now, the more I'm thinking, I think we're definitely going to skin test every time.
The panel, I'll if anyone's interested in coming on, I can have 4 people on the screen. So if anyone's interested in sort of like debating this, I'd be super interested to sort of come back on again while we're still in lockdown, and we can have a chat about it, because I think this is a really good topic that we can talk about. Our manufacturer's instructions, you test every time. That's our manufacturer instructions. However, what it says, you check with your insurance, and your insurance will guide you on how you do that. But we don't recommend the like tattoos, the little patches that you send out, because you're not testing for other stuff. So we have argan oil, we have aloe vera, we have wheat proteins, we have all different ingredients in there that we're also testing for. We're not just testing for PPD, because our PPD in yellow is super low. It's 0.03, so it's really, really low. We have a low ammonia content as well. But I think we do need to be testing for all the other things as well. So it's important to skin test at some point with those. So yeah, let's do that one. Okay, so let's talk about coming back. So assuming we're going to be back on the
third.
Fourth, third, definitely third.
We hope.
One of the girls downstairs, she says, I've got my eyebrows booked for the 2nd, and I was like, it's not gonna happen.
No, you haven't.
I think that might be changed quite soon. So we're going back on the 3rd. You've sorted out all of your things. Holding stock. How do you deal with stock in your salon? What do you do?
So going back this time, we'll go through. So I'll go in, I will do a stock check, see what we have, see what we don't have. I will over order. I will look at our database and I will put in a big order, because I'll know that we'll have people that want different things, especially by talking to clients via email, like I was saying before, about the progression of their colours going forward. So it kind of gives me an idea as to what we need, how much we need. Any open tubes that are already there, I will get rid of and I will replenish. Any open developers I will get rid of and I will replenish. There's nothing saying you have to do that. However, you don't know how long that tube's been open for prior to you closing, and you don't know how tight that developer lid's been on prior to closing. So it's not like you're continuously using it at the moment. It is literally just been left. And as far as I'm concerned, to me, they're dead. So they will go, and then we'll replenish in that way as well. As I say, that's not you have to do that. I think it's really important. I think that may even help with any irritations that the scalp may have. It may, you don't want it to hinder its lift or its deposit of tone. So yeah, I think it's a really good thing to do that. But yeah, just put as much stock in as we possibly can, because you're always going to use it anyway. And I think a lot of a lot of colours, or kind of going forward now, you've got a lot more cooler blondes, so you're going to want to look more at your winter tones for your blondes. You're going to want to look at your warmer colours for your brunettes, and kind of the shades that you probably weren't using so much of sort of through the you kind of need to, which I think is really good. I think that's a really good way of doing your mood boards, to kind of get the interaction from your clients, to see what kind of tonal reflex they like, so that you can kind of work forward on your stock, so you can kind of see where they're heading in their minds a little bit more.
That's really interesting, actually, isn't it? Because you, as a client, you can get into that, just the same. Whereas if someone's presenting you with seasonal colours, seasonal tones, this is what we're looking at. You know, I've been obsessed with minky, trying to achieve minky, and I feel like my last colour, I got minky. Actually, when I watched stories, and I was like, minky, I've done minky, I found it. But it's just sort of like, and if you know me, you know how obsessed I am with coolness in my hair. And then for me to actually go, I actually like my hair minky, I'm quite amazed at sort of, but it's just that I'm seeing it all the time. And, you know, people keep talking about minky hair, and I'm like, I don't want to be minky. And, you know,
that you probably wouldn't have thought about it and thought about the colours that you're going to use.
Yeah, I would be obsessed with looking for warmth in my hair. I literally, in my bathroom, hold up my hair. I can see orange. I think I can. Whereas, you know, it's just sort of other colours are starting to come into autumn, and I think it's really nice to talk about it. You've got to think about everybody that walks through your salon door. We've got inspiration. We're training ourselves. We're coming onto things like this. We're listening. We're understanding. We're watching. Our clients are not seeing what we're seeing. And I've got this sort of thing where I really believe you have to keep telling people over and over and over and over and over. You may be bored of listening to what you're talking about. And I feel I talk about cool bases, natural bases, 410 all day, every day. I feel like that's my topic of conversation. However, people don't see me every time I go on a live. People don't watch all the videos I do. People don't read the information that I put out there. So the more I repeat how to use stuff, how to get the best white hair coverage, how to understand, you know, the undertones that Vicky was talking about. It was brilliant, because some of the stuff she said, I was like, oh, because I don't talk about that. And I was like, wow, yeah, I forgot about that. And I was wanting to go round and assess people's natural tones and sort of, you know, it just got me excited. So I think the more we talk about all of this stuff, how important it is, you know, you should be having Bond Hero. If you are like, I've got a face frame at the front, I've got to be looking after this bit of my hair because my hair's super fine. I've got scalp bleach, so I've got to take so much care of my hair. A conditioner is not going to cut it for me. A treatment isn't. I've got to be having strengthening treatments as well to protect my hair.
Yeah.
And you just keep telling people over and over and over and over. You know, there was something I found, and I'm going to try and I'll put it onto the group chat. But there is this thing that was done in 18 something of it was in the newspaper, and this professor said that if you say something once, the majority of people will never hear it. If you say it twice, someone might hear it. 3 times, a few more people. 4 times. What was that they said? 5 times. Oh, I think I've seen this before. 5 times. And it goes, it takes you through this journey, and it can be up to 30 times before somebody hears something.
Wow.
I'll find it out for you. And it's everyone's journey. It might be that I'm not interested. If I was super interested, I've got blonde hair. Do you want to protect your blonde hair? I'm like, yes, I do. But it might not be of interest to somebody. You know, they're like, oh, I've got blonde hair, I'm not that bothered. So you've got to repeatedly keep telling people. Don't just tell them that you've got Bond Hero that's going to help strengthen your hair. Don't tell them you've got a silver shampoo just once. Sell them the benefit, and you've solved it. Then you're solving problems, and that's all we're going to do. People are coming to us to solve problems. We've just not got to forget that you've got to repeatedly say this over and over and over and over, because once isn't good enough anymore. That's the end of the sermon today. I feel like I've achieved today. But I just think it's really interesting. Just keep, yeah, exactly, Rachel.
Like
boom,
that.
boom. Just keep repeating yourself. You might be bored of listening to yourself, but I'm not. So yeah, it's been a really interesting chat, Amy. Really interesting. I'm so pleased we managed to get you on today. So pleased.
Well, I mean, to be honest, and we're only 4 minutes in. We meant to start at 11, weren't we?
There we go. See? Easy, easy. Thank you so much for joining us. I had another question on there that was earlier that said that they missed the training that was on Monday. If you message me on education@wonderfulbrands.com, so it's education@wonderful, and then the hyphen, the little line, brands.com, with your email address, I can send you that information. It is going to be available. There is going to be a new website with their learning zone on there, but if you want to get it for your team whilst you're in lockdown, I'm able to give you that as well. So thank you so much, Amy, for today. I really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for joining us. It was really, really good. And we'll see you all on Monday for Emma's and Lenny on Wednesday. I haven't got them in front of me. But if you head to the link in the bio on Yellow UK, you can find them there. Don't forget about Viv's course tomorrow as well. You are going to love this, how to cash in on your content. So Viv's going to be, she's the social media queen, so you're going to learn something from there. So thanks very much. Oh, I love that. It feels like a big conversation with friends. Thank you, everybody. That's really sweet of you. And we'll see you all soon. And I'm going to put something up for skin testing. See you all. Bye.